So in terms of making sure that you're coordinating with other offices in your institution, whether they're compliance offices, making sure you know where your institution's policies live. There are many people I know who might not recognize or realize where those things live. And if you do know where they live, did you review them? Are you familiar with the research-related policies at your institution? Are you familiar with the guidance documents and the policies of your most common sponsors that you're working with? And if not, I encourage you to go and take a look at that. The more that you have those things in your in the back of your mind, the quicker that you can catch things during the course of your review. And I can't stress enough, because no one knows everything. And even if you've been in this profession a long time, I think we can all attest that we see new things more often than I think is even possible. I made a joke to Anne and Aaron, I think it was last week when we were preparing for this, that I swear people have Mad Libs out there, and then they just put random words and then into whatever scenario, and then that's the email that I receive. And that's a lot of problem solving, but that makes it fun, in my opinion. So conducting thorough proposal reviews and coordinating with other offices, again, making sure you're aware of what you need to be compliant with. So all of our institutions likely have similar types of policies, but there's nuance out there. Risk tolerance is different between institution and institution, or if you're working for a hospital or other type of organization. These are all things to be mindful of, or if you're state-owned or not, for example, what you may be restricted in what you're able to accept, or your risk tolerance might be different in that regard. Building partnerships is along the same lines. So when you're in the budget process, budget development process during proposal development, for example, are you working with if the positions are separated out, are you working with your post-award colleagues and getting insight from what are the issues that they're seeing from the active projects and active accounts, and how can we prevent those? When you're thinking about very large, complex proposal applications, even more important then to make sure that you are looking at the highest risk items and consulting your colleagues appropriately for there. For example, does your institution have conflict of interest policies that might need to be addressed at the time of proposal and not wait until the time of award? That can certainly come up, and that is something that could be devastating if it's not addressed at the forefront, because you don't want to be put in a situation that delays the award from starting, or now you have to, even worse, have to do a prior approval for a PI change because the conflict couldn't be managed, as an example there. Knowing your colleagues, for example, even in a procurement office, a purchasing office, oftentimes we're required to produce quotes to make sure that we are budgeting, according to what realistic prices are. Are you familiar with your own institutional practices in that can really affect the post-award world, because you want to make sure that you're budgeting as accurately as possible and projecting as accurately as possible. I just want to make sure. And then take advantage of trainings. Anne did mention trainings as well, and that can't be overstressed, in my opinion. So a lot of our institutions do offer trainings to one another. My office offers many trainings, and so do our compliance offices. For example, your IRB might provide training on how to use a single IRB, or what's an expedited review. Your purchasing office might provide training on how to do sole source justifications, for example. All of these are so important to take advantage of, and those also will help you make the connections to the people in those offices that you can call on for specific, or these off-the-wall questions that you might receive that to have a partner with. And really, we are all partners together. Okay. I also just wanted to mention though, in terms, not every sponsor has a just-in-time process like the NIH does, but sometimes there is, or if you get a heads up that an award is coming, use that opportunity to jumpstart. What can you do to get ahead of the game? Is there, and you're confident that an award is coming, I should say. Working with your investigator, what compliance approvals can get moving, what personnel issues can get moving, what if there is a backlog, you know, in the height of the pandemic, there were so many supply chain issues that resulted in delays in purchasing things. So getting a head start on all of these, it's not too early to think about that, or at least knowing the path forward, again, is to prevent a lot of, there's so many delays off, you know, in the beginning of when projects start. And so even just doing that can really help get things off running much more quickly.